Hungry. You're in the right place for that, absolutely. I just want to say thank you very, very much for coming along and supporting us today. It's great to see so many of you here taking an interest in local producers and what's going on in Dumfries and Galloway. So thank you very much for supporting. And I'd like to introduce you to my co-host here. So this is Nigel Taylor, who you probably know from Barlochan Beef. If you don't know him, you need to know him. Best beef in the area, okay? And also joining us today is Brian Wilkie, who is our wine connoisseur, who's going to be guiding you in a very capable way through which wines you compare with your beef, basically. Okay. My name is Nick Morris, and I'm the Station House Cookery School element to the presentation. Without further ado, over to you, Nigel.
Hello, everybody. I'm here kind of as, well, obviously as the farmer side of it. I'm definitely not a chef. Okay. That just puts all the pressure on Nick to get it right. Having said that, I do think I cook a reasonably good steak. I certainly cook a better steak than my wife, but I do leave the rest of the cooking to her. One reason to which we've got this subject about why cooking a good steak, hopefully it's obviously interested you guys in the first place for being here, but when I'm selling beef to the public through farmers markets or at shows or whatever, I probably spend more time talking either about my Highlanders or about how to cook steak. And the reality is, for me, it's probably one of my biggest problems. In other words, I can have two people here buy steaks from me this afternoon over in the Harbour Square. They could have been two sirloin steaks, they could have been off, they will be off the same animal that was bought today, side-by-side steaks. And in a month's time you could come back and one person could say, well, actually Nigel, that wasn't really very good. You know, I've had better out at Tesco's or whatever. Oh, I get it. No, I get it. Frequently, I did have one person actually, local eating establishment, who didn't like my meat because it was too meaty.
Okay, so we're moving on to oiling. Now, steak does need to be oiled before it goes on. Generally, the accepted way is oil the steak, not the pan. Now, you will read different things about that, but I think this is something we agree on, isn't it? Oil the steak, not the pan, okay?
Do you need it to be cold, room temperature, or...?
The steak?
Yeah.
Now again, we've been discussing this. I was always trained that it should be room temperature. The reason for that is you want to be able to get the balance of the crust on the outside and then the control to be able to cook the centre the way that you like it, whether it's blue, rare, medium rare. There's nothing after medium rare, people, by the way. Are any of you well done people? Can you show the door, please? Just do not, please, cook your steak well done.
Surface area.
Yeah, that's it. Next thing to come on to. That's why I have my knife in my hand. We were talking about getting that nice umami crust on the outside. A way of helping that, now this is something that Nigel actually showed me, take the back of your chef's knife there and just tap and tap and tap all the way along there.
Harder, harder.
You happy with that?
I have seen people do it with the front of the knife and actually crisscross it, which I've never tried, because my first reaction, well, I was about to say I've just paid so much for a steak, I could have got out of my head. But it is, one thing which I'll refer to, which I'm not sure your humanity is exactly the same, but the way I refer to it, it's all about creating colour.
Yeah.
Really, really important. That is really where the flavour comes from. It's about creating colour, the layers of colour. And one of the ways you do that is by increasing surface area. But the other thing about a steak as well is, I don't know if you can see, can you just show the edge of that possibly before you hit it?
Can you see it on the camera?
Or do you know the thickness of it? These are reasonably thick steaks.
Oh yeah. That fat means flavour.
But by the time Nick's finished beating the hell out of it, yeah, it's quite
in a good way.
And would you do that for every cut of steak? Would you do that for every cut of steak?
Not necessarily. I mean, people do use a mallet. I don't like a mallet only because I don't
If it
feel
was a
that.
fillet steak, would you still do that?
I probably would to a certain extent, but one thing I was going to say on it, it depends very much how your steak was cut in the first place. So, generally I think, especially in Scotland, steaks are cut too thin by butchers. As you tell from my accent, I'm English. We used to have steaks a lot thicker, but it might just be because it was 40 years ago. But it's a really malleable item.
Okay. Now, you notice what am I not doing? Prodding it, poking it, turning it, that. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the demo that opinion is divided on a lot of things. For me, you put it on, it's not about the important things. You put it on and you leave it. Don't touch it, don't prod it, poke it. God's sake, don't cut it. I've seen some people actually cutting it on there to see if it's done. Don't do any of that at all. Heston Blumenthal completely disagrees with me. Go figure, okay? He's got 3 Michelin stars, I don't. So you make up your own mind as to what you want to do. Heston turns every 20 seconds or so. For me, you're just not going to get that beautiful crust. His argument is that it's all about getting an even cook all the way through. I don't actually look for an even cook. I look for that crust on the outside, which obviously is going to be much better cooked, if you like, than the centre of it. So you decide. Do you all know the little trick with your hand for deciding whether something is rare, medium? You all know it? We didn't need to go into that? No? You don't know it? Oh, great. Okay. This little part on your hand there, if you relax your hand and push that, that's blue, basically, kind of rare. If you put... Sorry?
Still alive.
Yeah, exactly. Then as you go down, that would be rare, medium, and going into well. So you just tuck your finger in there and you'll find that it changes. That's what you look. The other thing you can do, just for a few seconds, render off that little bit of fat. Do you like to eat the fat?
Yes.
There's a good reaction there. There was either a yes or a from a few people. I do, and if you just do this just for a few seconds, it helps to render it off a little bit. There. Now you'll notice also, once I'd tapped that down and saw the sides of it, I decided on the hoof to only put 1 in there. Don't overcrowd your pan. That's a good rule of thumb for most elements of cookery anyway. But what will happen is that you'll actually start to steam it, if you like, which is not what you want. That would be good. There's a few people having a religious experience. Nigel is down in the main square selling his wares. We'd love it if you go and buy some steak, cook it up and give us some feedback and see what you think. You know, has what we've done today for you actually. If we've just made you think about certain elements that maybe you hadn't thought about before, then that's our job done. You know, we're not saying that this is categorically the only way to cook a steak because there are so many different opinions. But if we've got you to just to think about a few things before you cook your next steak, that's what we're after. Yeah?
Really enjoyed it. And could you tell us a bit about Station House Cookery School?
Absolutely. I could talk all day about steak. Just a 60 seconds. Okay. Well, firstly, I don't know whether you know or not, but this is the old station building in Cookery. I'm sure a lot of you will know that. That's the original station wall. You guys would have been sitting on the platform. You guys would be run over by a train at this point, okay, as it careers into the ice cream parlour on the other side of the road. And what we're doing essentially is at the beginning of next year, we'll be opening up, God willing and builder willing, we'll hopefully be up and running by, at the latest, very early spring. And the focus of the cooking school, you've got a good example of it today. My ethos is that we need to connect more with the producer, with good natural ingredients. So the cafe and the cookery school is all going to be about, we're going to make our own butter, our own yogurt, we're going to make our own cheese, we're going to run courses where you can meet the producers. I want to get people out there to go and see people like Nigel. Tomorrow we've got the cows, actually. And by the way, I've got to say that Nigel is, you know, obviously time permitting. I've been up to, now I know where they are. I just head off on my own to go and play with his cows. They're gorgeous. They're incredible creatures. I shouldn't have told you that. They're absolutely amazing. And so you are able to do that, obviously, with Nigel's permission and making sure we're not wasting too much of his time. But tomorrow we've got Rowan's Dairy, if you know them, who are 6th generation free-range dairy farmers. Tomorrow morning, they've got an open morning. They're close to Dalbeatty. go and see them, go and see their cows, go and talk to the farmer, go and find out everything that they've got to say. Then at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm doing how to make your own butter with their cream. We're doing basic cheese making, how to make a creme patissiere for your desserts, how to make your own yogurt. So you go, you meet the cows, you connect with the farmer, and then we're going to have Tracy Rowan will be sitting at the end of the bench like Nigel was today, actually talking about her product as I'm actually demoing. So that is what the Cookery School is going to be all about. It's getting you connected with the producers, really good quality local ingredients, making fantastic things in your own kitchens is what we're about. Lots of courses for children. We're going to do corporate stuff. We're going to do stuff for adults that can cook, adults that can't cook. But you know, the idea basically is to get everybody back in the kitchen as much as possible. So I'm very happy to talk to anybody after we finish if you want more information about what we're doing. Okay, so can I say thank you certainly to Nigel and to Brian and also to Meg and Max who have helped us.